everybody, Keenan Gray here, back with another episode of Pending Ratification. My guests today, guests meaning two, are twin athletes from the Webb School of Knoxville in Tennessee, Calysta and Jazzlyn Garmer, both accomplished athletes, and especially this last year as juniors, Calysta won a New Balance Nationals outdoor title in the girls 5,000, and Jazzlyn is a multi All-American in both the indoor and outdoor scene. Their accomplishments have certainly rolled over into their senior cross-country seasons, where they've had great starts this fall, but we learned a little bit more about them as far as social media presence, what they like to do from a hiking perspective, and also their love for soccer before they took on running. Here's this episode of Pending Ratification with Jazzlyn and Calysta Garmer. All right, well, I had a 50-50 chance of guessing who they were. I unfortunately failed on that end. That's what happens when you're trying to guess which twin is which. So, Calysta, raise your hand.
That's me.
And Jazzlyn, raise your hand.
Me.
There, everybody knows who everybody is. So, girls, really appreciate your time hopping on here. How's the day been? How's the season been going so far? Catch me up on life.
Yeah, it's been super good. I mean, today's been good. Just easy runs for us both. And yeah, life's been going super good. The season's off to a good start, and it's championship season coming around. So, but yeah, the season started off super strong. I think our first race we both set PRs, and it's been kind of fun to just each race kind of try to just improve on it. Even if that's some of our races have been more controlled efforts, but just kind of getting those wins along the way. And at Great American, that was kind of our last big test before we have state and the other qualifiers coming up. But yeah, it's been super fun so far. Yeah, I feel like senior year has been off to a pretty fun start. Yeah, this year started off with senior sunrise at our school. I feel like Webb does a really good job of making senior year really special. And on the cross country side of things, senior year has just been already so special. As Jazzlyn says, our first race, we weren't really expecting it, but we ran on the race that we're going to do our regionals at later this year, and we set new PRs there from what we ran late in the season last year. So we were super excited about that, and our teams had some pretty good performances all together, a lot of season best for a lot of the girls. So we're all super pumped and getting excited for senior year. So
yeah, to kind of give context to some of our viewers out there, of course, Calysta and Jazzlyn, great athletes out of Knoxville, Tennessee, the Webb School of Knoxville to be exact. Great outings. I believe top 5 finishes at the Great American Cross Country Festival this couple weeks ago. Jazzlyn has qualified for Foot Locker Nationals in years past. Calysta has won a national title. So you guys are kind of just, getting the ball rolling here, at least within this last year. Where do you think you guys, how have you felt you've taken the next step as athletes to, put yourself in the position where you're at right now?
yeah, definitely. I feel like honestly, me and Calysta have kind of just kept up what we've been doing for the past years, but I feel like it's all kind of just started to be a culmination of all the little things we've been putting in, and it's kind of all just started to come together. I feel like really well, especially this past track season. I feel like, and even into the end of cross country, but especially last track season, we started to really see ourselves on the national stage more, and just kind of believing in ourselves and knowing we can compete with the top ends of the fields that we're in. So yeah, definitely. But it's been fun to kind of just see the progression throughout the years, and just trusting the process and trusting my coaches that we were able to take kind of the next step up. So yeah. Yeah, I feel like our team's always been pretty talented. Our freshman year, we qualified for NXN as a team, so we've always had a really good group of girls to train with. And I feel like, especially at the top end of our group, we push each other every day, and eventually that led to us individually, as me and Jazzlyn started developing more confidence in us individually, not just as a team. So I feel like, yeah, especially going into track season, we just really started getting confidence in racing some of the top girls. So I feel like it's all starting to come together. So which is exciting.
Yeah, you can really see the jump that they made from not only from their freshman year, as Calysta just mentioned, they qualify for NXN. Just getting into the sport, they had no idea what the sport was going to offer for them in the next 4 years or so, and now look where they're going to be heading at. There, of course, obviously have the Tennessee State Championships here in just a couple of weeks, and then of course NXR Southeast, I should say, in November. I'm an only child, and I never grew up with any siblings, let alone have a twin. Of course, what is that like? What's it like having a twin?
Yeah, I feel like me and Jazzlyn, like, we get pretty competitive with each other, like, not
Hmm.
just out in running, but like, just like day to day, like in schools and stuff, like, we get pretty competitive with each other, but
Hmm.
also, like, I feel like we both, like, work really well together. Like, if we're doing a group project in school, we're gonna be like the first people to look at each other, and then in practice every day, like, even our easy run days, like, I couldn't imagine doing it without Jazzlyn.
Hmm.
Because I think we just really help. We keep each other like honest. And then if one of us is having like a harder day in a workout, we can help just like push the other. And yeah, so yeah, it's super cliche, but I feel like Clis is really like my built-in best friend. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it's just super fun to just kind of. I've done high school with her this past like few years, and even just like running each day. Super excited for
Hmm.
like the NCA with her. But yeah, definitely, it's super fun.
When was the last time you two were not in the same room together?
Ooh, I feel like it might have been last fall, maybe when I went to Foot Locker Nationals, and I think Calista did running lane instead. But that
Hmm.
was pretty big difference.
Yeah, I think
And
that was like the longest we've spent apart from each
yeah,
other.
so
And
yeah.
how did you handle that?
Yeah, it was definitely pretty hard seeing my twin go to nationals. I feel like it's part of the reason why I feel like going into track season I was super motivated and
Hmm.
really just wanted to like get after it, and I feel like it really helped me have kind of the jump up I did during track season. I feel like witnessing that and knowing like wanting more, I feel like that really just helps motivate me going into track season. So, yeah, definitely. And even for me, I was like it's just kind of different just not having like
Hmm.
your training partner there, but we're really excited to kind of like we both have kind of set goals of going to the national meets together this year.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Well, Jaslyn, as you kind of pointed out, it's a built-in best friend.
yeah,
You probably are not used. I'm sure growing up, you guys share a room. You shared a lot of things together growing up as kids, but to be away from your twin, what was it like? What, a couple days that you were at Foot
yeah,
Locker, and then Callista was at down in, what was it, Alabama for running lane.
yeah, yeah.
So was there a party that was just like, I don't like this?
Yeah, definitely. Like me and Costa were like FaceTiming each other from like our hotel rooms, and I was like, "So what's it like up over there?" And we were just kind of just trying to like stay connected, but definitely missing each other a bit. So but it was like a good experience. Like we both kind of met some different people, but
Hmm.
it's gonna be super fun this year. Kind of just hopefully experiencing it all together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would, like I said, you guys have a great team, so I would assume that this team is making it to Nike Cross Nationals and that you guys will be hanging out in Portland together just like you did your freshman year. So it'll be another great opportunity, you guys, to, have that last moment together as seniors, knowing that, of course, you are going to Furman University next fall together. So
Yeah.
that's not going to change. But even though you guys are twins, there are some differences between you. Callista is maybe a little bit more outgoing. Jazzlyn is a little bit more of an introvert. Is that something that's always been the case? Or is it, sometimes like just Jazzlyn be an extrovert and Callista be an introvert?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like growing up, like all of our family and like friends, I feel like we were like as we kind of got older, we started to get a little bit more differences. Just like kind of growing up, we had the same friend group, but even now, like we have a few different friends. We don't take the same classes. I feel like that kind of helped us grow into our own person and not have to solely like rely on being with the other person all the time. And I also feel like as we got older, we kind of just like grew into things that we like different because I've got more into like social media while Jazzlyn isn't as into that. I feel like we kind of just grew our own likes, and while we have a lot of the same things that we like to do together, I feel like just like kind of high school in general, you can't be with your twin all the time, and I feel like
Hmm.
that kind of brings out like a different person. So yeah, definitely. Like I feel like even my coaches and teammates, like when they first meet us, they're like, Man, like, it's gonna take a while to kind of find out the difference between you guys, but even within, like, a couple of days, they're, like, already can tell us apart,
Yep.
like, very easily, so, yeah, but we definitely have our differences, but, yeah, I feel like that just makes us both kind of even better, like, just in life and in running, just kind of having, like, those strengths to help each other, so, yeah.
Mhm. Well, I can imagine, especially, as you enter it as freshmen for your coaches, you're thinking, all right, twins, how are we going to tell these two apart? They look exactly the same. All right, now we got to see what their tendencies are like. Like, who, as I said, who's more outgoing, who's going to be the one that's, a little bit more talkative, more social, or who's the one that's a little bit more reserved and keeps to themselves. But it seems like, as you said, Jazzlyn, they figured that out like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
so for them, that was pretty easy. Like they didn't have to worry about that for the next 4 years. So let's go back
Yeah.
to you, Calista, talking about the social media aspects. What led you, or I guess what kind of drew you? Words, I can't say them. What drew you to that?
Yeah, I mean, me and Jazzlyn, like growing up, whenever we first got across country, we wanted to like learn more about it. So one of the first thing we like wanted to watch together was we always would watch like every night. We'd watch like an Emma Abrahamson vlog.
Hmm.
So that was our first like kind of YouTuber that we loved watching, and like throughout the years, I picked up a few more YouTubers that I love. Like I love watching Ali O and like Philly Bowden and The Woods. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's super exciting. I feel like it's kind of because Ali O, she just competed in the Olympic trials, and I feel
Hmm.
like when you have that backstory behind a person and you can see insight into their training, I feel like it helps you connect with them more and kind of just like root for them even more. So I feel like I kind of got into it and I was like, this is definitely something that I could see myself doing. So yeah.
So what have you done for yourself to kind of, put yourself out there and, make not a name for yourself, I should say, but like, kind of create your own brand?
Yeah, so I started with Instagram because I first TikTok seemed a little bit more overwhelming. So I just kind
Hmm.
of created like an Instagram account, started like posting. Because I had like an account just like posting about school and stuff, but then I made a separate account, Calysta Running, which
Hmm.
became eventually more of my main account, and I just showed like my races, my training. And then this year I kind of started getting more into my TikTok, and that's
Hmm.
mostly where I post now, besides like my races I post on my Instagram. But I feel like I kind of just looked at what other runners were doing and kind of got inspired by them. It was like, okay, like I can post like a little bit into my races, a little bit more into
Hmm.
like outside of racing, my training, and then just also like my daily life. So yeah.
Then with Jazzlyn, it seems like you want to take a career down a business path. Like you want to be like an entrepreneur in some way. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm taking like a couple of business classes this year. And it's definitely a little bit intriguing just learning about the business sides of things. So I think I'm gonna major in something business going into Furman and potentially minor in like psychology or something because both of those realms kind of interest me a bit. So
Hmm.
yeah, I kind of me and Kelsey are both in entrepreneurship this year,
Hmm.
which is a super fun class and just kind of building new projects and stuff has been super fun. So, yeah, I just think it's super interesting, kind of just like learning like about like building your own like business and things. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What type of business would you want to have? And again, you sound like you psychology, so maybe you want to work with some mental health advocacy, or heck, maybe it's something else that you want to create a business towards.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I would love to work with like athletes in the future.
Hmm.
Definitely like I would love to help them kind of with like the mental side of training too, just because I know that's played such a like pivotal role in my like success as an athlete, kind of
Hmm.
just believing in myself. And so I'd love to like eventually kind of just help like other athletes kind of learn their way into believing in themselves and like trusting
Hmm.
their own process and just helping in the ways that have definitely helped me. So yeah.
What do you do for yourself when you get into a moment where you're super nervous before a race, or nervous before like a test? Heck, any social setting can be nerve wracking. But what do you do for yourself, like to make sure that what do you tell yourself just to stay relaxed and make sure that everything is you're feeling comfortable going there?
Yeah, I feel like for me, before going into like any big like life event or even like maybe even a really big social event, one thing is just like trying to stay present, maybe take a couple of deep breaths. But especially going into competition, I feel like two things that really help me is I like journaling, so
Hmm.
that's one of my favorite things is just kind of even if it's just journaling out the race plan that my coaches gave me, it kind of just keeps me more present in the moment.
Hmm.
But I like to just stay relaxed and just like pray before my race. But yeah, I feel like that's two really things that kind of keep me present and in the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. So between you
Yeah.
guys, business, social media, those can collab together in the future. Has that, I mean, as you said, Jazzlyn, you guys are taking an entrepreneurship class together. Is that something you guys have discussed when you graduate from Furman or even, down the road when you get into adulthood, like myself right now? Uh, is that something that you guys thought about, working together and collabing on?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like me and Jazzlyn, like, especially since I'm learning more about like social media and how to like brand yourself and your business, I feel like I'd love to like work with Jazzlyn and help her put herself out there on like social media platforms and kind of like whichever business and like kind of like have a role in like helping each other. So I'd love to do
Hmm.
that. So we are kind of thinking about that. So yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like I'm kind of more of like, once I know what I'm doing, I'm good at just getting like after and kind of getting done like my mission or whatever I have. So, and
Hmm.
I feel like Calista is kind of more of like the outreach, kind of like the creative side of things. So, yeah, I feel like definitely could play off of each other a bit.
Well, again, as I said, that's where you two would differentiate a little bit. Social media, business side, you can come together and create a brand, create something that can have an impact on a lot of people. That being said, you do have something in common though. You both love traveling, you love hiking, and especially Jazzlyn, you have a favorite spot in Knoxville, I believe, Smoky Mountain. What makes Smoky Mountain such a special place to you? And if Callista wants to chime in on this as well, we just what about that place is special for you when it comes to hiking?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's just a super like it's super nice that it's kind of convenient where I can just travel with my friends up
Hmm.
and go check out like even though it's like local, it's like I feel like that even makes it more special kind of just seeing the beauty and just in like Tennessee and the local areas. So, yeah, but
Hmm.
it's super fun to kind of just go up like with friends and things and even with family sometimes and just check out the mountains because it's even like super calming and just like super
Hmm.
fun to have good combos with friends while hiking. So yeah, super fun. Yeah, I feel
Calista?
like Smoky Mountain. Yeah, it's like just like a super special place because I feel like kind of where we live, it's not like there's not a ton of hiking places around us. So
Hmm.
I feel like it's fun to be able to go out to Smoky Mountains and like I feel like it's special that we have a group of friends that would like go out there and do that with us. So
Hmm.
I feel like it's super nice. So
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you guys have had your fair share of adventures. One of them being, of course, Hawaii. I assume maybe on Oahu. You guys have hiked Diamond Head there
yeah,
on that island. I
yes.
mean,
Yeah.
compared to Diamond Head and Smoky Mountain, which one you picking?
Ooh, I mean, they both have like their things like better. I mean, I can't go to Hawaii every weekend, so maybe that one has a little bit of.
Wouldn't
I
we
might
all
have
have
some
the? We
bias
would
for that
love the
one.
luxury of having that every week, wouldn't we?
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, that it's Hawaii was super pretty too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I guess the only difference that I can see is, Diamond Head a little bit more touristy. Is Smoky Mountain
yeah.
pretty touristy?
No, not super bad. Like super calming. So I mean, they have their both strengths. So yeah,
So that way, Smoky Mountain, I think probably has a little bit of advantage.
yeah,
It's just because there's not as many people to have to deal with there. But
yeah,
if you think
definitely.
about it, if outside of the places that you've been to, where's somewhere that you haven't been that you've really want to go to and go explore?
I would love to go to Greece eventually. I feel like that's
Hmm.
just somewhere super pretty that I've seen. That yeah, just looks honestly just like super amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, Greece. I've personally never been to Greece. I actually got to go to Europe this summer and got to explore Rome, which actually I had a chance to look at your guys' Instagram. You guys have been to Rome before. You guys had a picture
Yeah.
at the Colosseum. I got to go to the Colosseum. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed my time over there. It's a different perspective too. Like you think you know what you're going into when you go to these different countries, but you leave with a totally different outlook. 2.
For
Like, did you
sure.
guys kind of feel the
Yeah.
same exact way when you went to Europe for the very first time?
Yeah, I feel like we definitely did. Because it's just like, and it's just crazy seeing like all of like the mix of just like there's tourists and there's like
Mhm.
people from there, and it's just like seeing it up in person, like in photos, it like these big like architecture like places, like they don't
Mhm.
seem like as large as like when you get there, it's like whoa, like this is massive and like
Mhm.
and insane. So yeah, but seeing it in real life is just like a whole nother level of just like crazy. So yeah.
How many steps did you guys think you walked around in Italy?
Ooh.
I mean, I think whenever we went, it was like super hot that day. Like
Mhm.
it was pretty much like if you had a bottle of water, like it would turn like hot if you like once you bought it, you'd have to immediately drink it. So we also
Mhm.
had like younger cousins on that trip. So I think we couldn't stay for
Oh.
too long because they got pretty exhausted after walking in the heat and stuff. But I still think we ended up getting in like a good amount of steps that day, and like because we also had our run that morning too, so we were pretty tired
Mhm.
by then. For
Yeah.
sure. So
I was gonna say, if you could beat 81,000 steps in 2 days,
Yeah, I
that's what
don't think we beat that.
yeah.
that's what I did, and I was completely exhausted, and that was without even running,
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty
and I still
crazy.
went for a run after I did the many, many steps throughout that day. Well, so again, Greece is on the deck, as far as, wanting to, go to somewhere where you have probably been recently is Whole Foods, because you love Whole Foods.
Yes.
What
Yes.
is it? I mean, I know, Parker Valley raves about Whole Foods, and every time she comes down to Eugene and Trackdown USA, she's always making a stop at Whole Foods. Now, I've only been to Whole Foods a couple of times, and it's for me, it's been a while since I've actually been there, maybe a couple of years actually. Why do you like Whole Foods? What give me your selling pitch here.
Oh, you can go.
Okay, so I think one of our favorite things about Whole Foods is like when you first walk in, they have like the whole like drinks aisle. So we always have to
Mhm.
pick up like a kombucha. So that's like our first thing. So they have like so many like different like fun bevs you can get there. So that's always like our favorite thing to do first. And
Mhm.
then after that, they just have like so many different like you can kind of get lost in it because there's so much different things you can buy. But
Mhm.
we'll pick up some meals for the week, and then they have a bunch of different fruit, which is really good. And then yeah, so and then you can pick up like we pick up different snacks we can take to practice each day. So yeah, I feel like it's just like a superior grocery store. So yeah.
Yeah, I
Are you
mean it's super fun. So
No,
yeah,
go
and
ahead.
like just the same thing, just as Calista said, like I love to pick up a little drink before, so I like yerba mate and like kombucha, so two of my faves. So yeah.
I can confirm I've never had any of those, and I have no idea if I will ever have those in my lifetime. But are you guys the type of shoppers that just go to the store and, like, do you have a list, or do you just walk in just completely blind and like, all right, if I see it, we're gonna get it?
Yeah, I think usually like I'm a little bit more organized, so I'll come up with like a general list like before I go because if I don't, I'll spend like so much time. So, I'll come up with like a general list. I'll be like, okay, I need like 5 meals for the week. I need to pick up like some more of like the bars that I need before practice. And then anything else like if I need like okay, like if I have a kombucha every day, like I'll need a few of those. So I'll just come in with like a general idea just so I don't forget anything and also so I don't like take too much time in the store. So
Yeah, Close is a bit more organized than me. I just like if it was me, I would just go in and think, oh yeah, like I have like mentally I think I know everything that I have, but I would definitely forget a couple of things. So I'm glad that she kind of makes sure that we have everything. So yeah.
You're gonna have to rely on her when you go to college, aren't you? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I think
start
a bit.
I understand why you may have struggled being separated from her when you were at Running Lane and she was at Foot Locker.
No, my hotel room was like definitely a mess, and it was because Calista was not there. I felt bad for my roommate a bit because my side of the room was not good. So yeah.
So you really need Callista in your corner to make sure everything is, like, even keel, everything's in tip top shape, like, everything's gotta stay in order.
For sure, yeah.
Callista, are you okay with having that role? Are you okay being that person?
I mean, I think I've just like kind of accepted it at this point. I think it's because like since Jazzlyn never drives anywhere, I think it's because like I know that I don't want to have to drive back and do things or like have to like Jazzlyn can forget something at practice, so I'll have to make sure like before we leave practice, like I'll have to run her through a list like, okay, did you grab your spikes? Because I know like she's gonna make me drive back. So I'm like, okay, so I have to run through the list and make sure we have everything. So
Jazzlyn, you're making your sister do the work that doesn't need to be done.
yeah, I know.
Like you're making it difficult for her.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of racing, for you, Callista, and I found this to me this was interesting that you said that you don't listen to any pre-race music. You kind of just socialize a little bit beforehand. Like you, that my question was for you. Tell me something that people would not know about you. I have
Mhm.
a sense that people would like think, oh yeah, like that's totally Callista. Like she would never. Maybe not. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's just like a lot of people wouldn't guess about me because like on the car ride to me, it's like me and Jazzlyn are just like polar opposites. Like she has on
Hmm.
her Beats headphones, like blasting like her pump up music and is like totally locked in, which I'm like locked in as well, but I feel like my way
Hmm.
of locking in is not getting like so uptight because I know like if I blast like some pump up music, like I'll get super uptight and maybe can get a little bit too revved up and waste a little bit energy before even the gun goes off. So I know like my way of kind of getting locked in is I get centered from just talking with my teammates on the warm up, staying like
Hmm.
nice and loose. I feel like that's kind of my way of like locking in before a race. So
Jaslyn? What's the playlist then? What are we listening to?
Ooh, I got a little bit of Kanye and Drake and Rihanna, so a lot of good ones. A little bit of Macklemore too in there. So yeah, I think my playlist is pretty good. I like it. So yeah.
Callista, if you were to have a playlist, what would it be?
yeah, I mean, I think I just like I put on Sirius XM Hits One. Sometimes I'm just like whenever I'm driving to practice. So
Mhm.
low key, like whatever's on the radio, I'll just like listen to it. I think like if I had to pick a song, I think like I'm into like before lifting, I like to listen to some Kanye because I feel like I have to get a little bit more pumped up to do that because sometimes I'll have to motivate myself a little bit to go out there and do my lift. So I feel like I like some Kanye music. So.
Jaslyn, you probably want to, have headphones on, especially when, you're going out for a run. And then of course you come across a goose. To kind of context people, again, as I said, I sent out a question asking, what would people not necessarily know about you? Jaslyn had a little bit of an incident with a goose one time. You want to tell the people what happened?
Yeah, so it was my first ever long run. Pretty young, like probably around young middle school, maybe around
Hmm.
7th grade. So, on like a little path that's along the river. So, just pretty much chilling it out, and I'm like have almost made it through my first long run. So, I think I'm doing pretty good. But then I see a geese, which I mean, they seem pretty cute from far away, but once you start getting up close, they're pretty menacing. So,
Hmm.
yeah, started to get closer, started hissing at me, maybe, and then just even started running at me a bit. So I was like, no way. Kind of had a little panic moment, had to think about my next steps, what I was gonna do, but decided to reroute it a bit and add on like a mile to just kind of avoid the geese path. So and went the opposite way. But yeah, I mean, I my parents were a little bit afterwards. Oh, like what took you longer? Yeah, I just had to avoid some geese. But yeah, I mean, as long as I can avoid a geese attack.
Hey, at least you're honest and upfront about it and be like, no, I just
Yeah.
decided that I wanted to go an extra mile. Be like, no, I was genuinely scared of this animal that was going to attack me. Oh,
Yeah.
what was it? A bear? Was it a cougar? No, it was a goose.
Yeah. Yeah. Not
This
my
is me
best
pretending to be the
moment.
parents right now. My facial reaction, like, okay.
Yeah.
Was this also an
Yeah.
instance where Callista was not there?
Yeah, she was not there. So, I
Seems
mean,
like bad things happen. Like, she
yeah,
needs to be in
bad,
your corner
bad
all the
things.
time. Like, if she's not there, heck, we could, have another incident where you're being chased by a goose.
I know. So I'm gonna have to make sure I have her with me for all the runs going forward because geese are just not like they might be my biggest obstacle. So yeah.
Callista, was there a part of you that kind of wishes you were there to witness this?
I mean, I've been with runs before, and whenever I see a geese, I'm like, Jazzlyn, like, we just gotta keep running. Like, if they're really not that bad. Like, they're not gonna, like, attack you. But then she will just, like, refuse. So I'm kind of glad I wasn't there, because she would have, like, made us add on, like, a whole nother mile, because she saw, like, a mother goose. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I
You
wasn't there.
gotta find ways to overcome your fears, and that might be an
Yeah.
instance where Callista maybe pushes you a little closer to a goose,
Yeah.
and you
Oh
have
yeah.
to face your fears. I don't know how it would turn out, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
that might be an idea down the road. But of course, this is of course, ladies, this has gone on all over the place with different types of topics, and it's been, it's been really funny to say the least. But I will say this: your guys' running background, you know, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of athletes that have pursued running and gone into it. Soccer seems to be always the topic of conversation that comes up as the first sport that distance runners, sprinters, or any type of field track and field athlete pursues. Soccer is that's you guys' bread and butter growing up.
Yeah, I feel like me and Jazzlyn, we were two like our favorite position was we played outside back, which if you play outside back, you know it's a lot of running like up and down the field. So I feel like we started running mostly a lot of our soccer teammates, they did cross country because they're like it'll help you build endurance for
Hmm.
soccer. So I feel like that was kind of how we started getting into it. So, but we definitely got super into soccer. We put a bunch of like soccer posters up in our room and like we do a bunch of like juggling competitions. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like soccer was a pretty I feel like it got us into running just because like even starting soccer, one of me and Close's biggest strengths, and they were like, oh, the twins, they're like pretty fast. So it was kind of fun to just kind of and that kind of really got us into running. We're like, oh, like maybe we should, especially once the girls started joining cross country, like, oh yeah, for
Hmm.
sure, like we'll join in. Would love to like even work on the speed and endurance a bit. So yeah, but yeah, soccer I feel like does really train like especially as a young athlete, like a bunch of different things like teamwork and just like speed and endurance like I said. So yeah, definitely is a good sport
Yeah.
growing up.
I'm always amazed by, at the professional level, how many miles soccer athletes
Mhm.
I
run
know,
per
yeah.
Yeah.
match. I think, gosh, this was a while ago since I've watched a soccer match, but I think, yeah, I was watching a Sounders game one time, and I think one of the announcers, they were talking about it, from a previous match, that one of the athletes was running like 8 to 9 miles per match. And that's, it's not just like a constant jog or whatever. It's it's a stop and go type of thing. I mean, yeah, there is some jogging in there, but
Yeah.
especially if you're a midfielder or an outside hitter, like you're running constantly. So I mean, is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
did you notice that maybe your guys' endurance was better than some of the athletes that you guys played against, and that's why it's kind of like led you to where you guys are at as distance runners?
Yeah, I think me and Jazzlyn, like, especially like the position of outside back, I feel like we chose that position because we knew like how much running it requires. So,
Hmm.
and I feel like the rest of our teammates, like, whenever we had to do like line drills or like suicides across like whenever it'd be like the time at practice where we do some sprints, all the rest of our teammates would be like dreading it. I feel like me and Jazzlyn would be like secretly hoping for it because we knew like we could kind of show up our speed a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just continue to thrive off of the running, and your guys are probably the ones that smile when they coach says, "All right, let's do some drills now. Let's do some running
yeah.
up and down the field," and everyone's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, we don't
definitely.
want to do that," and you guys are like, "Yep, we'll do it."
Yeah.
All fun and games there, but so
Yeah.
as I said, when you start getting into sports, you start to realize, the potential for, for you guys at least, running was going to be your calling when it was all said and done. And, everyone has their moments. Everyone has those moments that kind of like, it's like, yes, I'm so glad I chose this sport. For you, Callista, and I was actually there, and we actually got to chat after that race in Philadelphia at New Balance National Outdoors. Not only do you win a national title in the girls 5,000, you break the meet record and you run an insanely fast time of 16:18. Just put into perspective what that race was like, and kind of the build up to it, and the end result being what it was.
Yeah, kind of going into it, at the end of the cross country season, I wasn't super satisfied. I felt like I missed out on a lot of opportunities.
Hmm.
But I still knew was making progress, and I just if I kept focusing on myself, like that good things would happen. So I think going into track season, especially outdoor, um, it felt like it was kind of picking up momentum and I started getting more and more confidence of racing. I've never raced in like the top pack before that point, and I feel like racing and starting to pick up a few wins. I feel like that definitely helped me build confidence. And then I think one of the major things that helped me build confidence was at state I won my first ever like state individual
Hmm.
title in both the 1600 and 3200, and yeah, kind of going into that year, I would have never expected that because I've never even been like my highest finish before that was second place. So I was pretty happy with that, and I felt like I was building a lot of confidence and setting new PRs. So I feel like going into the postseason, I feel like another thing that really helped was my coach. He had a lot of confidence in me, and we started stringing together really good workouts leading up to that point, which just kept helping me build confidence that I could compete in that top of pack of group of
Hmm.
girls. So then once we hit like the final 800 meters, I started feeling like I had another gear. So then I think once I hit around 400 to go, I was like, I'm just going to trust all the training I've done up to this point and just see if I have it in me. So I think it kind of was just kind of like an accumulation of like all that hard work. I feel like it finally started paying off, and like I feel like I really just like in that race just focused on, I knew it was going to be a talented group of girls, so I was like if I just focus on working with the group of girls around me and then kicking at the ends, like we'll see what happens. So it was super amazing race. So
Well, and probably the best part of that entire race wasn't, winning the national title. You turned around immediately to see where your twin was at.
yeah, as soon as I finished my race, I was like, because going into the meet, me and Jazzlyn, like, we both had pretty big goals. We both, like, wanted to get All American in the race. So as soon
Hmm.
as I knew, as soon as I crossed the finish line, one of my first thoughts was like, okay, where's Jazzlyn at? Because we've been training together all postseason leading up to this point. So I knew we were both pretty fit, and I really wanted, just as much as I wanted to win the race, I wanted my twin to also run to the
Hmm.
best she could run. So whenever I turned around and I saw her coming down the final stretch, I just like immediately started cheering her on and gave her a hug as soon as she finished. So
Jaslyn, you've had a couple moments to kind of, reflect on within the last year, going back to the cross season, whether it was at Foot Locker and then during the indoor season at New Balance National Indoors. You think that 5,000 in Boston at the track at New Balance was kind of your breakthrough moment, finishing third overall? Why was that?
Yeah, definitely. Going into the season, with my coach, I felt kind of unsatisfied after cross season because even though I had made a big jump up, like even in my times in qualifying
Hmm.
individually for the national meet, wanted to kind of get in the top end of these national fields. So my coach was the one who suggested it. He was like, Jaslyn, like I feel like you're really good, like at the aerobic, longer stuff, like
Hmm.
have you ever considered doing like the 5K on the indoor track? Which I was like, I have watched it before, but it's definitely a lot of laps. But
It's a
to me,
lot of
that sounds
laps.
exciting. So I was like, sure, like let's go for it. And he was like, I think we can go for an All American finish in this. Which for me at the time, like it did seem like whoa, like that does seem like a pretty big goal. But I always just
Hmm.
try to trust my coach because I know he wouldn't set goals for me that he didn't believe I could do.
Hmm.
So, because like before, even in the previous seasons, I had never been in like the top heat of a national track race, and to
Hmm.
go from like the top like to being like an all American seemed like a pretty like a little bit of a stretch, but I was just like, okay, like let's just trust my coach. And then going into the meet, I was like, okay, like I would love to break 17 in the 5K and hopefully get an All American finish. And whenever I saw my time was 16:41 and like third place finish, I was just like super excited and just each lap it was just so much fun. Like my twin and my dad were at the track, and they were just seeing me each lap, just cheer me on, which was a lot of laps because I was seeing them about every 40 seconds. So, but it was super fun though, super exciting, and it did feel like a breakthrough for me.
Good things happen when Callista's in the building, Jazzlyn.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, you were by yourself. You get chased by a goose, and there becomes an irrational fear. But hey, when Callista's around, you run really fast times.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep your sister around, like I've said multiple
Yeah.
times. But
Yeah.
one little
Yeah,
fun one
for
one
sure.
little fun thing I would like to do though, because you guys are twins. As we kind of wrap things up here in just a couple minutes, I want to play a nice little quick questionnaire game with you guys. As I said, you are twins. You know each other very well, assuming. So we're going to call this quick exchange. So what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you a series of 5 questions. I'm going to let you guys think on who is most likely to do that. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to say the person's name that would most likely do it. And then I need you to give me a brief response. Since it is called a quick exchange, we want to kind of do it like a little bit of a rapid fire type of way. So, sounds good, girls?
Yes. Yeah,
All
I
right.
got it.
First one. Who's most likely to be late to practice? 3, 2, 1.
Jazzlyn.
Yeah, I feel like
Why
Jazzlyn
Jazzlyn?
would definitely be. Yeah, she would definitely be the one late to practice because I feel like since she never drives herself anywhere, she doesn't really have that concept of time. That kind of have to sometimes push her out the door and tell her like she doesn't have as much time as she thinks. So yeah, I try to multitask a lot of things before practice. Calista kind of has to kind of rush me a bit. Because even though I feel like I do try to get there on time, but I'm like, okay, like I can get done my English reading before practice. I can even foam
Mhm.
roll before practice. Like, I could like get my lift from Paul like before practice. So I try to plan out all of these things, and Costa's like, Jazzlyn, like we have 30 minutes, like we gotta go. So, and I'm like, no, like it only takes you like 25 minutes to drive. So
She
yeah,
knows what she's talking about, Jazzlyn. Listen to her.
yeah.
Which I think then this kind of leads to my next one I was going to ask you guys. Who's most likely to rob a bank and then immediately get caught? I definitely don't think Jazzlyn's the getaway driver in this situation, but I could be wrong. 3, 2, 1.
Jazzlyn.
Yeah, Calista's
Surprise.
like
Why?
definitely more organized than me, so I feel like if we were together, maybe it'd be a pretty good heist. I feel like we could collab a bit, but I feel like for me, I would try to definitely even like plan out the rest of my day. Like, okay, like I can't do my heist in the morning because I have my run then. I can't do it late at night because like obviously I
Mhm.
need my sleep for the next day. So it's gonna have to be at 2 p.m. And if Calista's not helping me drive, I don't know how fast I'll be able to drive and how successful it'll be. So, but yeah, so I don't know how good of a heist this one will be, but yeah.
Sounds like Callista will be planning the heist here in the future if we let you
Yeah.
guys rob the bank. Who's most likely to clap when the plane lands? 3, 2, 1.
Calista.
Yeah, I feel like I would be that person just because, like, sometimes I just like to get a laugh out of my teammates. So sometimes I won't think things through. And if it's a little bit awkward, or if it's like an awkward situation, or if it's just like something like a planned landing, I feel like I'd be that person to just start clapping, even if it would just
Are,
get
are
like a laugh out of one of them.
are you clapping because the plane landed, or are you clapping because you're like, oh, good job, flight? Uh, the who drives the plane? That Yeah, who drives the plane?
Yeah, I think Calista would be like clapping and just be like, "Yay, like good job." Like I guess like to the pilot maybe, but
Yes,
yeah,
that's the
I
word.
don't know.
See, I can't even think of
So,
words on the spot. Pilot. That's what I was looking for. So you would, yeah.
yeah. I think
I can
like
just
so I
imagine
guess if
just when a
like
plane lands, Callista's just going.
yeah.
Who is most likely to become an internet meme? I have an idea with Callista being in social media that might be the case, but hey, I could be wrong. 3, 2, 1.
Calista. Yeah, I feel like I might be the one just because like sometimes I do like to like poke fun at myself even if it's online. Like I'm not afraid to sometimes like make jokes of like some things. So I feel like I'm not afraid to like just like kind of make fun of myself online. So I feel like I could become a meme in that way. So yeah, for sure. I could see that happening.
I could see the meme being her clapping when the plane lands. I think that's where
Yeah,
the
yeah,
meme
I can see
meme
that
can
one.
come from. So, last one for you girls. Who is most likely to randomly bring home a new dog? You walk in and you just see a dog just roaming around. Who's the culprit? Three, two, one.
Jazzlyn. Yeah, I feel like since Jazzlyn, I feel like I would be that one ending up like taking care of it, but I feel like she would like not even really think about what she has to how she has to take care of it. I think she'd just be like too excited about having one and like so I feel
Yeah.
like I would take care of it, but
I mean, I've had a recent obsession with little Dotsons, mini Dotsons. So, I mean, I've already told Callista, like, don't be surprised, like, one day, just like in our Furman dorm, just like see a little mini Dotson that we'll have to just bring in to Furman. So, no, but I think they're super cute though. But definitely a lot of work though. So, I mean, me and Callista could collab with that one too. Just keeping care of the dog.
I I cannot wait for the day when you two have to live separately from each other,
I
and
know.
I don't know if it becomes a train wreck or not, but I could imagine on Jaslyn's end she might struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I might struggle a bit
a
at
little
the
bit of an
beginning.
adjustment, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, for now you got Callista to take care of you, and maybe she can show you the ropes once you guys finish up your college career. So, girls, as we're about to
Yeah.
wrap things up here, where can people expect you here in the next couple weeks? As I mentioned, you guys have the Tennessee State Championships coming up here pretty soon. You got NXR Southeast coming up. Memphis is where the state championships are at, November 7th, I believe.
Yeah, so we have that November 7th. Yeah, Memphis, it's pretty far away. Like they changed it this year, so it's an 8-hour
Hmm.
drive this year. So team's a little bit not as happy about the drive for that one, but we have that, and then NXR Southeast is the next one on deck. So yeah, just super excited for that. So just gearing up for those two big meets. And then we have the Brooks qualifier after that. So but yeah, we're just super excited for all of the upcoming championship races coming
Yeah.
up. So yeah.
Yep, and it would be the first time since your guys' freshman year that the Web School of Knoxville has qualified for Nike Cross Nationals, which I got to assume is kind of the long term goal. But for both you guys, I got to assume also that you guys want to be top 10 at Nike Cross Nationals as well. That's got. I mean, how sweet would that be for you guys to accomplish that not in your last high school races, but in your last cross country races?
Yeah, I think going into the season, like we're talking with our coach, and one of our big goals was helping our team qualify for NXN and perform well at NXN. And I think a part of that is definitely performing to the best we can, and definitely a part of that is scoring in those like high individual spots. So I think we're pretty excited for that, and I feel
Mhm.
like we've just had strung together a lot of good workouts recently, and like I feel like our racing we've done really well racing together and being able to key off of each other, I feel like is definitely an advantage. So yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like if like the team, the goal is to qualify for NXN. So we know if we go there, each person's gonna have their goal for what
Mhm.
they need to accomplish for us to have a high place overall. So and part of that is me and Costa just we want to be low stakes, get like hopefully both top 10 finishes to really contribute to that team score. So yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like definitely kind of just keeping that as like the end goal in mind is like finishing the season strong and having that end gear at the end of the season where we're able to just have enough like in stores for these national meets and placing well at them and not just qualifying but making a statement there. So yeah.
Making a statement, then of course heading on to Furman in the following fall season. And the coach Rita has done a phenomenal job at that program. Tell me what sold you on Furman and what you guys will be bringing to the girl gang, as they like to refer themselves as to.
Yeah, I think one thing, like whenever me and Jazzlyn, like we took our official visit to Furman, we immediately committed on that visit because
Hmm.
we fell in love with it. It was really we just felt like the team culture there is something like so special. I think we also just love Coach Rita. She talked with us and she was like telling us that she's not afraid of setting these big, maybe they can seem crazy goals, but she definitely thinks that um, the goals that we set for ourselves, that they're definitely achievable and they might seem big at first, but that's kind of what our team's the girl gang's kind of just going for is we're all gonna put ourselves out there and not be afraid to whenever the time comes at these big like high stakes meets really just put ourselves out there and compete with the best. So yeah, definitely everything Calysta said. The team is just incredible. It's just so good to just kind of just surround yourself with a lot of like talented athletes that have similar ambitions and just are also determined and just supportive of each other. So I feel like it's super like an amazing environment to kind of for me and Costa to take the next step up in the NCA because we know it's going to be a pretty big challenge to kind of
Mm-hmm.
just overcome next year. But we're just super excited for it, and we just know that Furman's just going to be a great place for us to take that next step. So yeah.
It is the next steps. And as you kind of mentioned, it's going to be a learning process along the way. For some of our viewers out there, that are middle school, perhaps freshman year of high school, what's the one piece of advice that each of you can share with other athletes out there that they can take into account going through their high school careers and beyond?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I would have to say is really just focus on your own page. I think it's easy to compare yourself to others,
Hmm.
but I think it's really important to know that everyone's journey is different. I think one of these people that I learned it from was Colin Eckerman. He kind of
Hmm.
told us that he had a big jump up his senior year, and we kind of looked at him and were like, "So what did you do? Like, what did you change to have such a big improvement?" He's like, "If you just keep doing what you know, like just keep on your own page and just keep focusing on yourself, then good things will happen."
So, girls, as you kind of take that next step going to Furman University next fall, I'm sure you guys have learned a lot over the years, dating back to when you were in middle school, when you entered high school as freshmen. What is some piece of advice you would give out to younger athletes that, they could potentially, take that into account and, kind of help them become better athletes or even better people?
Yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice would be really just focus on your own page. Um, my freshman year, I really didn't compare myself to others, but as I started progressing in high school, I started to compare myself to other girls, their achievements, and I was wondering why I wasn't running the same times they were or why I wasn't progressing as fast. Um, and I think it was my sophomore year. We had one teammate, Colin Eckerman, and he had a huge jump up his senior year. He won his first state
Hmm.
title. So we kind of asked him, and we were like, "How did you take your next big jump up? Like, what did it take? What did you start doing?" And he told us, "There's really no secret to getting faster. The biggest thing you can do is just focus on your own page, and if you keep putting in the work and just
Hmm.
being focused on yourself, then the results will eventually come." So I think that would be my biggest piece of advice. So
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's a good one. For me, I would say that mine would be trusting the process really. And
Hmm.
just kind of because sometimes I feel like it's hard, it's easy to overthink it, especially just to
Hmm.
think, oh, like, am I doing enough? But I think if your coach gives you your plan, you kind of just gotta fully invest in it and not question it at all. Just kind of just see that they have bigger goals than probably you have set for you. Like they believe in you more
Hmm.
than you probably believe in yourself. So I think that's kind of just
Hmm.
allowed me to kind of just have confidence in my racing. Is that I know my coach has had me in the best place that I could be in physically. So just kind of trusting
Hmm.
the process and trusting my coach. And yeah, I feel like that really makes the big difference.
Both really good pieces of advice, girls, and really appreciate you sharing that. And hopefully our audience can, take some of what you guys have learned over the last couple of years as high schoolers and, incorporate that into their own daily lives. Well, here on Pending Gratification, we have kind of started the thing that we've started asking at the end of the show because it's called Pending Ratification. When you ratify world record, it has to go through a process. So outside of running, what type of world record would you two like to set and why?
I feel like outside of running, I would like having a world record in some kind of swim event, I feel like would just be insane.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like just like swim as a sport just really amazes me. Like the fact that you can
Mm-hmm.
just like they can just tread the water just so hard with like such little oxygen just in their system. It's just like crazy to me. I feel like, and it's just like the mental and physical strength you have to be able to do the things that like these top end swimmers do is just insane. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for me it'd definitely be some kind of like swim, maybe like 100-meter freestyle or something. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I would have to give the same answer just because these impressive like Olympic swimmers, it just seems so like superhuman, like it doesn't even seem real. Like it just seems like honestly like a superpower. Like the fact they're able to go with like little to no oxygen and be able to like hitting it that hard and just like I feel like it's really impressive. So I feel like I really look up to them and I feel like I love watching their races in the Olympics. So yeah, I'd have to go swimming
I would have
instead.
expected like a social media answer out of you, Callista, just because
Oh
of your
yeah,
background. Social media,
that
like
could be
have the
another
most
one.
likes on on a certain
Yeah.
post, or have the most views, or whatever that may look like. Speaking of social media, girls, where can people follow you on Instagram, TikTok, I guess in this case, since Callista has one. But where keep people follow you guys and keep up to date what's going on in your lives.
Yeah, you can find me on both Calysta Running on Instagram and also Calysta Running on TikTok. So yeah.
Yeah, mine's Jazzlyn Garmer on Instagram. So yeah.
Pretty simple enough. And people can
Yeah.
find you guys on Instagram and TikTok. So, girls, really appreciate your time hopping on here. Wish you guys nothing but the best for the entire rest of this senior cross country season. Of course, you can, if you're in the Memphis area, go out and watch the Tennessee State Championships. Or if you are in Cary, North Carolina, be sure to go watch the NXR Southeast race there at Wake Med Park. And of course, you can tune it onto runnerspace.com. Callista, Jazzlyn, Garmer, really appreciate your time. Good luck the rest of this cross country season and your future endeavors.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Many thanks to my guests today, Jazzlyn and Callista Garmer, for joining us on this episode of Pending Ratification. If you like this episode and want to share it with others, be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And you can find this episode as well on runnerspace.com. Of course, I am your host, Keenan Gray. This episode has been produced and edited by Dakota Servillo. We hope to have you tuned in for the next episode of Pending Ratification.